Previously on
We have a
Ballz.
chat to Gary Kirsten this afternoon. How are you going, Gaza?
All right, new Darren.
Top of the world, thank you. Feeling good, everything going cool. And yeah, first of all, congratulations on touching number one in all three forms of the game. Let's start off with that. I don't think we've spoken to you since that happened for the national side. And yeah, bad luck on the T20s. It's just it's one of those things you take in your stride. Such is the nature of that game.
Yeah, it was I guess a tale of two stories on our 3-month trip where we played exceptionally well in England, and it was as one would have seen, a riveting test series, and I thought we just played the big situations really well, and I was really proud of the boys the way they went about their business there. It was a tough tour from the start, but I think we set it up well and achieved the results we were looking for. And obviously the other side of the coin was real disappointment in Sri Lanka, but I think we took a lot of learning out of that, that's for sure.
How much can you learn out of T20 cricket? Because if you know, the more I watch it, the more I think, how can you actually go into a specific game with any particular plan at all? Because a game can literally turn on the basis of one over. You know, you can't really go in saying this. Okay, this is going to be our order today. I mean, we even saw in the final. You know, I don't think the West Indies would ever have thought that they were going to win that thing by actually strangling Sri Lanka.
Yeah, it's an amazing format in many ways, and I think it's taken a while for everyone to sort of learn how to play it. And I think the nice thing is that you're having a different winner every time. So you're right. I mean, it can change very quickly. But I think at the end of the day, the nice thing about that format is you can be really specific about your strategies in many ways, and they change from game to game. Yes, you'll have to maybe adjust something in the middle of a match, but I think that's what makes it exciting. You've got to move quickly, and you've got to make snap decisions during a game to hopefully give you that 1 or 2 over edge that you might need. Test cricket, as we know, is the other side of it, where it's a war of attrition. You spend long periods of time trying to undo the opposition, and the game unfolds fairly slowly. But I've really enjoyed this T20 version, and yeah, I think we've got from a South African team got a lot of work to do. We came up short in a number of different areas, but all our guys have played really well in a lot of the domestic competitions around the world, and it's just really a case of being able to put it together internationally. Yeah,
I've never really been partial to the 20 over game, but I must admit, particularly watching that final, what that showed is that you actually in this game. You can always be in the game, even if you think. I mean, I thought the West Indies were done and dusted when they struggled to get, I think it was 40 something off their first 10 or 12 overs. But as you know, a guy like Samuels and Malinga wasn't bowling badly. It's just that, I mean, I think he hit a couple of Yorkers for 4. He dug a few out for 4. He took one off his pip for 6, and he was hitting full-length balls all over the park. So, as you say, one player can literally turn a game back in your favour.
Absolutely, and I mean, there again is a good example of depth in your team. They've got good batting depth there, and someone's going to come good. But I think you make a good point. You're never out the game, even if a team's 1 down and they're cruising the game, but they need 7 and over. That 7 and over can go to 8, 9 and over in the space of 12 balls.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the opposition's in the game, and that's how quickly it moves. But I was really tough for the West Indies. I mean, they've come on some tough times over the years, and they were always a team that had the potential to win this event, and just really pleased for West Indies cricket. I think it's great for their game.
And you as a cricketing man, I mean, one of the things that pleased me most about it, other than the fact that, and we know how long they've been battling and struggling to get back into some kind of contention with the top boys, but was Samuel's comment afterwards is that, yes, this is fantastic, but Test cricket's still the pinnacle. And it looks like they're thinking about everything. This wasn't just, let's just try and win this thing and then we'll think about Test cricket afterwards. They really do want to get back into the top 5 or 6 from a Test cricket point of view, and I think that is going to be huge for them.
Yeah, and it's good for the game as well, Darren, where you got a team like the West Indies firing, and they've got over a lot of their hassles that they had with their players, and they've now got, with all their players back, and a full strength team, they're a formidable unit. So, that's exciting, and as I said, to have it, all the countries participating at full strength is really what the game needs, and yeah, it's just brilliant for them,
I just want to ask you from a point of view of how much cricket players are playing, because that's one of the reasons given is maybe that, you know, especially after that intense series, as you said, against England and how busy the guys have been. When you look at a lot of the, and I'm talking about the sort of the countries that are at the top of their game at the moment, not the countries that might struggle for a bit of depth, but it really seems that India and South Africa, I mean, your two teams, previous and current, are probably the two sides that tend to have a majority of their players that play all three forms of the game. Whereas a lot of the other sides are kind of picking players that you wouldn't see in a test game, and some not even in an ODI match. Is that a valid point, that maybe some of our guys are playing too much and need to maybe pick two of the three or one of the three?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to answer that. I mean, I think the one thing that did play a role is that you know, we had a highly intense series against England, and I think the mental sort of strain that a lot of those players undertook in that series is probably something that takes quite a long time to get out of your system, and then to sort of go into another big event and we're calling on the same players to make those plays probably was a big ask. I don't think it's the amount of cricket. We certainly haven't played that much cricket of late, but I think it's often it's just the intensity of the cricket you're playing, and I certainly felt, even as a coach after that Test series win in England, that you know, we'd put sort of 6 weeks of major effort into that, and I got a sense that some of the guys were sort of, you know, they'd run their race for a bit and needed a break. You take someone like Hashim Amla, who played every single game throughout the England series and Sri Lanka, barring one, and you know, he loves playing, and he kept saying to me, I want to keep batting. But I think the learning I took out of it is that, you know, often you actually need to pull guys out just to say, take 2-3 games off, get yourself mentally fresh again, and then come back out and do it, because your performances are never going to stay at a level that Hashim's were. He was always going to drop off because he played so well for such a long period of time. So we need to manage that a bit better.
All right. Well, look, as I say, I mean, there are people that love it, and I you know, the game is obviously very much designed around commercially spreading the word around the world. But as I say, I'm one of those guys that will look forward to seeing Hash and Jacques and those guys. Obviously, long-term wise, World Cup is still a way away. But next off for me, I'd rather see Hash actually hitting another couple of centuries or doubles or triples against the Aussies coming soon. So, you know, I mean, that's the next focus, right?
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I think everyone knows that, you know, it's now, you know, for us, our next goal is to say, well, how can we maintain that number one status for as long as possible? And obviously, if we do well in Australia, that'll create some distance between us and the other teams. So it's a massive series for us, and you know, I know everyone's already looking forward to it. It's you know, when I say quite a few, 4 or 5 of the guys that were part of the test side that weren't in Sri Lanka are really sort of motivated because they've had a bit of time off and they can't wait to get there. So I think it's going to be a great series. I've got a feeling he's going to be a little bit in the wickets that time of the year in Australia. So, you know, it could be a really interesting one.
Absolutely. One of the things I also enjoyed, now I was just wondering, I mean, you played with him. You spent most of your playing career with Jacques and now coaching him as well. I really enjoyed what Shane Watson had to say afterwards, where he basically almost avoided the whole issue of any comparisons from an all-rounder point of view with Jacques, saying that basically he was the greatest ever. Do you think South Africa has given Jacques the credit that he really deserves, looking at his record and just what he's done? And when you actually compare him with the other greats and look at all the numbers, there's no one that comes near him.
Yeah, I guess I just wonder who gives the credit. Is it Cricket South Africa? Is it the media? Is it the man in the street? But certainly everyone that I speak to in South Africa thinks that he is the greatest. So I guess there needs to be a collective effort to really, you know, talk up Jacques Kallis in terms of what he's done. And you're absolutely spot on. I mean, he is 2 players in one without a doubt. He could make a test side just as a bowler.
Yeah.
And we know what he does with the bat. So incredible cricketer and has been. I think for us, you know, certainly what we're trying to do now is try and keep him going for as long as he can, because you know, he loves playing Test cricket, and you know, I think to have the type of success we had in England will give him the motivation to want to keep going. But there's no doubt that physically we do ask a lot of Jacques Kallis and have for many years, and he can't keep up the tempo that he has, and what tends to happen, he's going to drop off somewhere. And you know, we're trying to give him a bit more break, and I think he's quite enjoying that, having a bit of a new sort of lease on life and doing a few different things.
So you've hauled the cotton wool out, have you?
Yeah, well, I think he's earned the right after 18
Absolutely.
years.
Listen, if Richie McCaw can get it, then I think Jacques Callis deserves it as well.
Exactly.
Because in their sporting codes, I think they rank pretty much up there. In fact, I think Jacques higher. And the thing is that you've been there in India. You've seen the adulation that a Sachin Tendulkar gets. I know maybe India, well, not maybe. I think India's way more passionate about their cricket than South Africa is. They don't have like a rugby and soccer that are competing for the attention of cricket. Cricket is the be-all and end-all over there. But still, I mean, you've seen the adulation that Sachin gets. And you look at Jacques' record. I mean, if he was an Indian player, he would be right up there as well.
Yeah, I mean, cricket's at another level in that country, as you've mentioned. I suppose it's a little bit different here because you're fighting for space in terms of the most popular sport. But no, he's massive, and I mean, you make the point. I mean, Jacques Callis in South Africa would rank the same as Sachin Tendulkar in India, without a doubt.
Absolutely. All right, Gary. Well, listen, it's lekker to chat to you. Thanks for giving us a bit of your time today, and still a lot of cricket still to come for the rest of the year, which makes me very excited. The jacuzzi's getting prepared. Test cricket in summer, there's no better place to sit all day and just watch day after day.
Thanks,
so looking forward to Aussie, and of course, we've also got the end of year series. New Zealanders coming here as well. Lots of action, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the year.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Darren.
Cheers, bud. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Gary Kirsten joining us here on Ballz Visual Radio. Always nice to chat to him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays live on ballz.co.za. Ballz.co.za.